Let's talk about forgiveness. Should you forgive the narcissist for what they did to you? Now, there's a difference between forgiveness and letting go. So, let's talk about forgiveness first. So, forgiveness involves two parties, right? One that's acknowledging the hurt and the pain or whatever it is, and they come to the other person and say, "Hey, I'm sorry. I did said things. I'm sorry for that." They acknowledge what they're sorry for. They I'm never going to do that again. And then they don't do that. And they ask you, "Will you forgive me?" Right? And now you have to decide if you are going to forgive them or not, reconcile, and continue to move forward together, or forgive them but don't reconcile, or don't forgive them and don't reconcile. That's the only way that can go. So, as you can see, with both, two parties are involved in forgiveness. Now, when you have a party that they don't acknowledge their wrongdoing, then can forgiveness take place? Can it happen? Not really, because they have to submit something to forgive. Think about the whole student loan forgiveness process. You were a student, you wanted to get an education. You didn't have the money to pay for or afford the education. They gave you a loan in order to do so. You graduated. You went off into the workforce. Now it's time to submit the payment. Maybe life is life and you probably don't have enough, to afford to pay that bill along with just regular, rent a mortgage, utilities, food and clothes and everything else that you have to pay, right? You might not have that money to pay the loan. So you forbear it and forbear it and forbear it and forbear it until the opportunity for for student loan forgiveness to come up, and you submit paperwork for the forgiveness of that loan. And then you also have to qualify for it. And it's just certain things that you have to do in order to do that. But you see how you submitted something? Well, that would be like that apology that the other person would have to submit to acknowledge that there was a wrongdoing that took place or an injury. So when that happens, you can't necessarily forgive. However, you can let go. Now, the narcissist is never going to really apologize. They're never going to say, "I'm sorry." If they do, it's just the blanket "I'm sorry," which is like, "I'm sorry you found out." Um, "I'm sorry, I want you to shut up about it." That's usually what the "I'm sorry" is. It's not, it's never a "I'm deeply hurt by what transpired and what's happened. I did not mean to do that to you. It was never my intention to hurt you. Um, you know, I acknowledge my wrong. I feel sorrowful for it. I'm actually convicted by it. And I'm going to change my behavior where this never happens again. That is an "I'm sorry." Narcissists, they don't do that. And if they say "I'm sorry," because they will say "I'm sorry," some of them will say "I'm sorry," but that's not what they mean. And if you say, "Well, what are you sorry for?" that they don't know. So you're not going to get an answer. So now what you have to do is what's called letting go, right? Letting go. Well, what does that look like? It looks like I am going to let go of the hurt. I'm going to let go of the pain. I'm going to let go of the thought that they owe me something, right? That they owe me love, because they don't listen, they don't have it to give. They don't have it to give. And I think about the scriptures, right? When it's like, what's the law? They had, it was 613, laws, statutes, commandments, and ordinances. And when it came down to when Yahshua the Messiah was actually walking around on the earth plane and fulfilling the law and the prophets, he said, now basically it's like one commandment. Well, what is that? He said, it's kind of twofold. It's one commandment that's twofold. Love Yahweh with all your heart and all your might and all your soul and all your strength and all your mind, and, which is a conjunction, love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hangs on these two, which is twofold is one. So then Paul talked about, oh, no man, nothing but love. Because guess what? If I love you and I owe you something, I'm going to pay you back. If I love you, I won't do anything to betray your trust. If I love you, I will make sure that every day I show up in our relationship. If I love you, you see where I'm going with this, right? So every day when you show up in a relationship, you owe love. That's all you owe. You owe love. And love is what will cause you to do blah, blah, blah. Because love is what? It's a verb. It is an action word, right? And so, of course, this is why you get the love bombing in the beginning of the relationship. That's not necessarily really love. What it is, I don't know, going on trips, buying some stuff, hanging out, whatever, and doing all of this quickly, right? It's like, oh, let me do this so quick before the mask falls off. So again, what you really have to do is let go. Let go of the notion that they owe you anything, because they don't have it to give. You just don't want to hold it in your energy, in your space. Let it go. Let them go, right? Let it go. Let them go. So that what? So that you can heal. You can love on yourself. You can bring that compassion back on into yourself. You can start to move forward in your life, releasing the hurt, releasing the pain, releasing all of that, because you have a journey. You have a healing journey. You have so much more in store moving forward that when you look back, you're not going to even want to, you will not want to look back. That's the thing about it. You won't even want to look back, because it's like, what's back there is messed up, it's burnt up, it's nothing, right? And so it does take time to get to this place in space. Trust me, I know. Although these videos are, it's like 90 days to healing from narcissistic abuse. However, it's been much, much longer, much, much longer than 90 days. This is just 90 days of being out of the same environment, with the, in that narcissistic, toxic environment or whatever. Okay. But 90 days, when you're out of that environment, 90 days is really a good marker, because 90 days is a season. It is a season. And a lot of things change in a season. So give yourself this time and this space to just pour all that love and compassion and everything that you were given to the narcissist that had the big old hole in them. It's like an abyss. It goes in and it's like, well, where did it go? It went nowhere, because they have a big hole, okay? That's just, it is what it is. But just pour it all back into yourself and watch yourself just flourish, all right? So I'll see you in the next video. And look, if TikTok won't be around for too much longer, follow me on YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel and follow me there. I'll be posting these videos there.